Olá! Olá, pessoal, tudo bem? Welcome to this class. I'm very happy to be here with you today. Today we are going to talk about nasal sounds in Portuguese, specifically nasal vowels. So I hope this class is going to be useful for you. This class is recommended for all levels because everyone has this need to learn how to improve your nasal pronunciation in Portuguese. Okay, depending on on your native language, pronouncing nasal sounds can be very difficult. If you are an English speaker, I know that is very difficult because we don't have these sounds in English. So that's why I prepared this lesson for you. Let me know if you guys can see me and hear me well. Tudo bom? I see. Oi, Sina. Oi, Alfred. Oi, Colovelli. Dan. Tudo bom, gente? Let me know if you guys can see me and hear me well. Who else is here? Malcolm, Aref. Tudo bom? James, Cris, Don. Oi, Don. Dinesh, Antônio. Oi, Jacob, Ankur, tudo bom? It's so good to see you all here. That is so exciting. Perfect. Muito bom. So this class is recommended for all levels, as I just said, and I have a few important announcements to make before we jump in. The first announcement is that you can download the material of this class from my website. Okay, I prepared a lesson, a material, so you can download and study the material. It is easy to download on my website. All you have to do is go to school. I'm gonna share my screen with you. So this class is going live in two places, Instagram and YouTube. If you are on Instagram, you cannot see my screen. So if you want to see my screen and see all the examples that I'm reading, I recommend you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/speakingbrazilian. But I will also give a lot, explain everything, I speak everything, so you can also follow the class via Instagram. It's totally fine. So I'm sharing my screen with you now to show you the lesson, to show you where you can download the lesson. Okay, so you can download it from my website. So this is my website, school.speakingbrazilian.com. On this page, you find all the courses that I offer. You see here the paid courses and also the free courses. Okay, the main free course that I offer is the pronunciation mini course. This course is very useful. So if you're watching this lesson, you're probably interested in pronunciation and improving your pronunciation. If you have not taken my free mini course yet, you should take it. It is very complete. You learn all the most important details of Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation. Okay, it's completely free. Just go to my website and sign up. And to download the class, the material for today's class, you should click on free live class. In this page, you find a lot of material, replay from previous classes, and also the download, the material that you can download from each class. Okay, so school.speakingbrazilian.com, free live class, and then you'll find the material for this class on this page. Okay? Okay, so since we're here on this page, I'd like to remind you guys, I talked about this yesterday. I'd like to remind you that my courses are open for enrollment. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I only open enrollment for my courses a few times a year, every 3 or 4 months. And courses are open for enrollment during this week from July 25th to July 31st, and then classes start in the first week of August. Okay, so if you are interested in joining one of my classes, this is the time to check it out. Go to my website to see all the options. I offer 3 main courses. One course for beginners. This course is very complete. In this course, you'll learn everything you need to learn to start speaking Portuguese. All the main tenses, all the basic vocabulary. Is a very complete and intensive course. I made one small change. Yesterday I talked about this course. I was selling this course together in a bundle with the pre-intermediate workshop, but I decided to go back to the way I was doing before, and I'm selling just the beginner's course, which is a 3-month course, 12-week course. I decided to do that because I realized some people, some students mentioned to me that they were not comfortable signing up for a 6-month course because it was too long and you don't know what you're going to be doing next year. So I made this change. So the beginner's course, it is a 3-month course. It was always like that. I decided I tried to change to a 6-month course, but then I changed my mind. It is the same course that as it always was. Okay, 3-month course, and then you can sign up also for the pre-intermediate course as a complement. Okay, the pre-intermediate course, it is recommended for those who have already learned all the basics but want to brush up or to review and practice what you learned. So it is the perfect complement for the beginner's course. I recommend this course for all the students who took my beginner's course, and I recommend the pre-intermediate workshop for those who have already learned all the basics but need to brush up and practice a little bit more before you join a more advanced class. Okay, and I have also a program for advanced students and intermediate level students who need a place to practice conversation. It is Speaking Brazilian Academy. The Speaking Brazilian Academy is not a regular course with beginner, middle, and end. It is a membership program. Okay, it is a place to go every week and meet other people and talk Portuguese. Okay, the classes focus on conversation. You have access to a lot of material and a lot of opportunities to practice and improve your Portuguese. Okay, if you guys have questions about my courses, you can ask me questions at the end of this class. I'll be here to answer your questions. Also, I have a lot of information on the website, so go check it out. Okay? Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about nasal sounds. I'm going to share now my screen with you with the material of today's class. So I see that Antonio is asking, Professora, Professora, what is the schedule? Is that what you're asking? Just give me a second. Ok, so professora, uma perguntinha, quais são os cronogramas da classe Speaking Brazilian Academy? I have a lot of options that you can choose from. I have classes during the evening and morning and weekends. So I recommend you go to this page. I'm going to show you where you can find the entire schedule. If you go to school.speakingbrazilian.com and then you click on Speaking Brazilian Academy and you scroll down, you see the entire schedule of classes. I know there's a lot of information. So here's the schedule. So I have classes Wednesday at 8, Thursday at 7. So a lot of options. You can choose the best option for you. Space per class is limited because I only have 8 to 12 students per class. So everyone has the opportunity to practice. So when you sign up, I'll ask you to choose 2 options and I'm going to place you in one of the 2 options that you choose, okay? I'll try to do my best to place you on your first option, but sometimes the place is already full, the class is already full, so I have to place you in another class, but I'll do my best to put you in the best time for you. Okay, so these are the options available. And in addition to your weekly regular class with a teacher and the other students, you also have a Q&A session with me once a month. Okay, so you have at least 5 classes a month to practice Portuguese. Okay, that was a very good question. So, okay, let's get started. I will save some time at the end of the class to answer more of your questions, okay? So let's move on to nasal sounds. So this is the material that you can download from the website. Okay, if you go to the website that I just showed, you can download this PDF. So pronúncia nasal, nasal pronunciation. In Portuguese, this is very, very important. We have a lot of words that have a nasal pronunciation. What does it mean? When you say nasal pronunciation, it means that when you are speaking, the air passes through your nose. And normally the oral pronunciation, which is not the nasal pronunciation, the air comes only through your mouth, okay? There is no air coming through your nose. So this is called oral pronunciation or oral vowels. But in Portuguese, we have a lot of nasal pronunciation, nasal vowels. And in this case, the air goes through your mouth and nose, okay? So this is the main difference. So we have nasal vowels in Portuguese and also oral vowels, which are the vowels that are not pronounced with the nasal sound. What indicates that a vowel is nasal or not are the letters that come right after it, or the tilde, that little thing that you put on top of a letter that looks like this. It is called tilde. Whenever you see a tilde in Portuguese, it means that that is a nasal sound. Okay, that vowel should be nasal. And whenever you see a vowel followed by the letters M or N, they are also nasal. Okay, most of the time, 90% of the time, that vowel is nasal. It varies a little bit depending on the accent, but most of the time, when you see the letter M or N right after a vowel, it means that that vowel is also nasal. Okay, so let's talk about these vowels that are nasalized, or nasal, that become nasal because of the letters M and N. They are commonly nasalized when followed by these letters, especially when followed by the letters N, H. Okay, especially. Then, when when a vowel is followed by the letters N, H, it is necessarily nasal. Okay, I'm gonna read some examples. Pay attention to the way they are pronounced, the words, and I'm gonna give you a small break, a little bit of time to repeat after me. Okay, so in this classes, it is very important that you practice imitation, which is to imitate a native speaker, in this case me. So I want you to imitate me. Okay, I say the word and I want you to practice and repeat the word out loud right after me. Okay, so you practice and you improve your pronunciation and try to imitate me. Try to pronounce the words as closer as you can to my pronunciation. Okay, so let's get started. The first word is antes. Antes. You see that the F goes through your nose. Antes. Antes. So we have the N, the AN sound. Antes. Antes. Second word. Setembro. 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 It is the N sound. N sound. Setembro. Jardim. So this one is tricky. Whenever we see the M at the end of a word in Portuguese, we don't pronounce the M. We don't close our lips and do this. That does not happen in Portuguese. Okay, we only pronounce the M sound when there is a vowel right after, like ma, me, mi, ma, mu. Then we pronounce the M. But if the M is just at the end of a word, right after a vowel, it is there just to nasalize the vowel. So there is no actually M sound. So jardim, in, it's a nasal sound. There is no M or N sound. No, it's just a nasal I, a nasal E sound. Jardim, jardim. Next word, onde, which means where. Onde. So it's the on. You see that I don't pronounce M or N. It's just an O sound that comes through your nose. Onde. Onde. Next word, comum. Same thing here. There's no M sound. It ends with UM, but there is no M sound. Comum is just a nasal U. Comum. Next word, manhã, which means morning. Manhã. Two nasal A's. Manhã. Next word, desenho, which means draw, a draw. Desenho. not nasal, desenho, desenho, desenho. So here we also have the NH sound, which sounds like nha. As in the word gnocchi, everyone knows what a gnocchi is. So desenho, gnocchi, desenho, desenho. So we have the N sound and then nho. Desenho, desenho. Next word, vizinho. Vizinho means neighbor. Vi is an oral sound. Vizinho. Vizinho. Inho. Vizinho. We have this sound a lot in Portuguese. The diminutive words inho, inha are very common, and the I is very nasal. Vizinho. Inho. Muito bom. Next word, sonho, which means a dream. Sonho. 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 Are you repeating after me? Don't forget to do the exercise. Repeat after me to practice your pronunciation. It is very important. And pay attention to see. You have to feel the air coming through your nose. There is a small vibration here on your nose when you pronounce nasal sounds. Sonho. Sonho. Okay? And then we have unha, which means a nail, like the one that you have in your hands. Unha. 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 Okay. So these are the examples of words, vowels that are nasalized by the letters M and N. But did you notice that I do not pronounce the letters M and N? They are there just to create this nasal sound. Okay, they are not pronounced. You cannot hear an M or N like an antes. That is not antes. No, there's no N sound. Okay, it's just the nasal A. Antes. Antes. So this is a very strong characteristics of Brazilian Portuguese, of Portuguese in general. We have these nasal vowels, and it is a singular sound. Okay, it's not antes. No, it's not an. It's It's one sound. Antes. Antes. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. I have more examples here, madam. I'm going to move on to diphthongs, diphthongos nasais, because this is the most tricky part, the most difficult part of nasal pronunciation. If you guys have questions about how to pronounce a singular, one specific word, let me know. I'm also here to help you with your questions. Okay, if you have questions, if you want to know how to pronounce a word, let me know. So I have one question here from TV Brazil. Okay, so the word correct is repetindo and not repetendo. Yes, I think you are answering to someone, right? Yes, so it's repetindo from the verb repetir. Yes, so they are the same. Yeah, Mr. All, they are very similar to Spanish. Portuguese is very similar to Spanish, but the pronunciation is very, very different, especially when it comes to nasal diphthongs. Okay, so you see that the pronunciation of diphthongs in Portuguese is completely different from the pronunciation of Spanish. Okay, so pay attention to that. So Shish has a very good question. So in Brazil, todo mundo fala com essa pronúncia? Well, when it comes to nasal sounds, most of the words, they are pronounced the same way all over Brazil, okay? Whenever, especially when it comes to diphthongs and the M and the N, all these details that I talked about. It is similar in all Brazil. Of course, we have so many different accents in Brazil. So whenever I teach pronunciation to my students, I always like to say that you have to pay attention to the way that your friends speak. Okay, if you're not sure how you like to, what your accent, how would you like your accent to be, I recommend that you imitate your friends and family, because we have so many different accents in Brazil, like so many. My accent is from São Paulo, But when it comes to nasal sounds, everyone speaks like the nasal sounds are very similar all over Brazil. Maybe there are very small differences in some places. People use more nasal sounds than in other places, but this is something that is common in the language. Okay, Portuguese language we have a lot of nasal sounds. But this is a good question. You have to pay attention to the way that your friends and family, if you have Brazilian family, how they speak, because the accent changes a lot from one place to another. Okay, let me see if I have more questions here. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about uh, nasal diphthongs. Nasal diphthongs. So first, what is a diphthong? So diphthong are are the combination of two vowels in the same syllable. Okay, so when you have two diphthongs together, two vowels together in the same syllable, that means it is a diphthong. And in Portuguese, we have a lot of that, and we have a lot of nasal diphthongs. Okay, so here are the nasal diphthongs that we have in Portuguese: ão, em, oem, ão, em, em, ui. Could you get that? Did you repeat after me? So these are the options. And did you notice that I have two options here, AM and EM? They are actually diphthongs because the diphthong is related to the pronunciation and not the way you write it. So AM and EM in this case, they are diphthongs. They are not, because the M does not have an M sound, it has a vowel sound. Okay, I'm going to give you examples to make this clearer so you see how this works. So let's see examples in words. The first word, this word is one of the most difficult words for my students to pronounce. Pão. Pão means bread, bread. Pão. So you see that there are two vowels. It is not pão, it is pão, u. U. So we have the sound, the nasal a, and then to have a weak u. So these diphthongs, they have the first vowel very strong, and the second vowel is very weak, pão. So the strong pronunciation here is the nasal a, okay? And then we have the u very weak. So Josuem is asking, do you have nasal sounds like in French? Yes, some of the sounds in Portuguese, they are very similar to French, but not exactly the same. They're a little bit different. But the on and sound is very similar to French. In French, they have different nasal vowels that we don't have in Portuguese, but a lot of the nasal vowels that they have in French are similar to Portuguese. So if you speak French, it's probably easier for you to learn the nasal vowels. Muito bom. Tem uma pergunta. Você acha que os ditongos são um jeito mais fácil de perceber que alguém é gringo? That's an excellent question. Yes, I know that when someone not from Brazil is speaking Portuguese, it is very easy to recognize the accent because of the nasal sounds, for sure. So the nasal sounds are one of the most difficult things of learning how to pronounce in Portuguese, right? Okay, so pão. Let's repeat after me. Repeat after me. Pão. So remember to pronounce two vowels. Pão. 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 Two vowels. Don't forget the second vowel. The next word. Mãe. Mãe means mother. Mãe. So two vowels. Ma, I. Ma, I. Mãe. Mãe. Próxima palavra. Lições. So this one is a little bit tricky because we have two vowels and the S at the end. Okay, we have a lot of words that are written with on, and then in the plural is oins. So lição is the singular form of this word, and the plural is oins, lições. So pay attention to the pronunciation. Ois. Ois. So just one nasal sound. Ois. Lições. lições, lições. Próxima palavra, falam, falam. So here's the verb, they speak, eles falam. So we have the at the end. But in this case, we wrote with the am. So remember, the m, it is not pronounced. So don't touch your lips when you speak this word. It's not falam, it's falam. Oh, oh, falam. But in this case, we don't have the tilde, right? So the sound is a little bit weaker. So it's not falam, it's falam. Eles falam. They speak. Eles falam. Ok? Próxima palavra. Bem. Bem means well. Estou bem. Tudo bem. So we use this word a lot, right? Tudo bem. How are you? Tudo bem. Bem, bem. You see, I don't pronounce bem. It's bem. 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 Tudo bem. Tudo bem. So in this case, I have two nasal sounds, the and the in. Tudo bem. Tudo bem. Tudo bem. And the next word is cãibra. Cãibra means a cramp when you're like, some muscle hurts. Cãibra. We don't have many words with this nasal, with this diphthong, ai. Cãibra. 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 And then we have the word muito. This is a funny example because the nasal diphthong ui only exists in this word, in one word, muito. There are not other words with this diphthong as far as I know. Muito, muito, muito means many or very. Muito, muito. It's a nasal sound. Muito, okay? Okay, so let's continue. Let's see. I'm going to skip this example because I would like to talk to you about the pronunciation of and with the tilde, and with the m at the end. But first, I'm going to take a look to see if you guys have questions. Let me know if you have questions. I'm here to help you. A Xish is asking, poderia dizer a pronúncia das palavras falaram e falarão? Yes. So this is exactly the topic that I'm going to discuss right now. Okay, the difference of the pronunciation of the am and the a tilde o. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Let me see if I have more questions. So does the M of the end of a word get pronounced or not? My Portuguese tutor says it does. I'm not sure if this is a rule everywhere. In Brazil, we don't pronounce the M as an M unless it is followed by a vowel. So if you have the word, for example, the verb comer, comer, to eat, we have the letter M and it is followed by a vowel. So it is you can clearly hear the M sound. Comer, comer, right? But if the M is at the end of a word, if there is no vowel right after it, it is not an M sound. So the M is there, it just creates the nasal sound of the vowel that comes before, okay? So as in the verb comeram, I don't say comeram. No one speaks like that. Comeram. No one speaks like that. So the M, if you could say the M is pronounced, but it is the nasal sound. It is not pronounced as a clear M. There is no M sound, okay? It just nasalizes the vowel that comes right before. Muito bom. Actually, it is interesting to think about that because most Brazilians will say, yeah, we pronounce the M, but if you think about the language, like in its the linguistics of the phonemes, there is no M phoneme at the end of words. There is no M, okay? The M sounds different, sounds like a nasal vowel, okay? Sounds like a vowel. Actually, most of the time, it sounds just like a U. Falaram. So we have the nasal A and then the vowel O, which is not there, but that's how we pronounce it, okay? So it is a funny topic, how words are pronounced in Portuguese. Okay, I'm looking for more questions here. Tamara is asking, "Ki" is pronounced "ki" or "ki"? "Qui". Oh, usually the Q-U with the letter I is pronounced "ki", "ki". Okay, então, quinta. There are a few exceptions, like the word tranquilo, which means quiet. Tranquilo is pronounced "qui", but most of the words with the Q-U-I is just "ki", "ki". Quinta-feira, quilo, and many other words, okay? Words like Q-U-I and Q-U-E are pronounced, the U is not pronounced unless it is an exception. Muito boas perguntas. Let me know if you guys have more questions. Okay, let's talk about the and am, and then I'm gonna read more of your comments and questions, okay? Because this is gonna answer a lot of your questions, I'm sure. So let's talk about how to pronounce the letters a, o, tio, on with the tilde, and a, m, on. What is the difference between the pronunciation of on and on? There is no difference. Did your mind just blow right now? There is no difference. A, o, tio, and a, m are pronounced exactly the same way. I'm going to repeat because all my students make this mistake. Spanish speakers, English speakers, Russian speakers, whatever. There is no difference in pronunciation. A, o, tio, and a, m are pronounced exactly the same way. There is no difference in the pronunciation. No difference. Okay? So I'm going to explain more details. We have the tilde, when you have the tilde in the word a, o, tilde, as in the word pão, for example, in bread, canção, a song, all those words with the tilde on the top, the tilde is an accent, okay? And in Portuguese, accents, graphic accents, are used to change the sound of the vowel and also to indicate that that vowel, that syllable is the stressed one. So when you see a word with the diphthong a, o, tilde, most of the time that is the stressed syllable, okay? That is the stressed syllable because of the graphic accent. But when you see a word with the letter am, that syllable is not stressed because there is no graphic accent. So let's see examples in words to make this more clear for you. Por exemplo, eles trabalharam. So this means they worked. It is a past tense of the verb work, trabalhar. Eles trabalharam. Did you see how I pronounce? Trabalharam. 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 So the AM at the end is pronounced like ão. Trabalharam. Ão. Ão. Is the ão sound? There is no M sound. No, 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 no. Don't close your lips when you pronounce this word. Trabalharam. Ão. Ão at the end. But the stress of the syllable is lha. It is the second to last. Words in Portuguese that have no graphic accent most of the time are stressed at the second to last syllable. Trabalharam. Trabalharam. Okay? And then we have future tense. Eles trabalharão. Trabalharão. Why do I pronounce trabalharão? Because of the graphic accent. Okay, there is the tilde, and the tilde indicates that that vowel is the stressed one. Eles trabalharão. Eles trabalharão. Did you notice that these two words, the only difference in pronunciation is the stress, right? There is no difference in the ão sound. Trabalharam, trabalharão. It's the same pronunciation. AM and AOTU have exactly the same pronunciation, but in these two words, the stress makes all the difference, okay? Trabalharam, past tense. Trabalharão, future tense. So it is very, very important that you get the pronunciation right and the stress right, okay? If you don't get the stress right, Brazilians will be like, okay, are you talking about future, past? I'm not sure. So it is very important to pay attention, okay? Trabalharam, trabalharão. One detail about this future tense, eles trabalharão. In colloquial language, usually we say eles vão trabalhar. Okay, we use the most informal future tense. Eles trabalharão, it is less common. But in these examples, this is the best example for you to notice the difference between pronunciation of the AM and the AO tilde. Okay? So let's practice. I'm going to speak and I want you to repeat right after me to practice how you say these words. Ok? Então vamos lá. Eles estudaram. They study, past tense. Estudaram. Future, estudarão. Estudaram. Estudarão. Estudaram. Estudarão. Ok? Let's go to the next group of words. Verbo comer. Eles comeram. They ate. Past tense. Eles comerão. They will eat. Future tense. So repeat after me. Eles comeram. Eles comerão. Comeram. Comerão. Comeram. Comerão. Ok? Então agora, let's move on to the verb assistir. Eles assistiram, they watched, past tense. Eles assistirão, they will watch, future tense. So, repeat after me. Eles assistiram. Eles assistirão. Eles assistiram. Eles assistirão. Okay. Was it too difficult? Let me know in the comments. So it is very, very important that you pay attention. I cannot stress this enough. Pay attention to the stress. Pay attention to the pronunciation of AM. There is no M sound. It is on. On. Always on. Okay? Always. Doesn't matter the accent. Always on. I've never seen one Brazilian speaking the letters AM at the end of words in a different way. Okay? So pay attention to that. I hope if you learn this from this entire class, I will be very happy because this is so important. Okay? Let me know if you guys have questions. I will still have some time in this class. I'm sorry about the noise. I'm in Brooklyn and there is a lot of cars passing by, so sorry about the noise. Okay, a lot of honks too. People are stressed. It's Sunday, let's relax. Okay, so I see there are some questions here. Muito bom. Questions. So Little Kitty is asking, where in Brazil are you? I am originally from the Northeast. I'm originally from a place called Teresina in Piauí, but I was not raised there. I was raised in the South, and I lived I lived for 10 years in São Paulo, so my accent is more from São Paulo. But I'm not in Brazil right now. I'm in New York. I live in Brooklyn. Okay, what else? So Isabella is asking any tips for producing the nasal sound like a certain way of placing your tongue, or can it only be learned by imitation? Well, I recommend imitation because this is just the more natural way of learning. But I also recommend that you pay attention to the lips and mouth. So you imitate not only the sound, but also the position of the lips and the mouth. So I think this is this is what I do when I'm learning a language. I pay attention to the position of the lips and the tongue and everything that I can see from watching a native speaker. That's how I learn how to pronounce the nasal vowels. And in French, they have the on, the it changes a lot, right? So so the position of the mouth makes all the difference in the pronunciation of the words. So that's my tip for you. Imitate not only the sound, but also pay attention to the lips of a native speaker when you are watching, and then repeat and try to imitate the sound and also the position of the lips and everything that you can get from the the position and placement and everything that you can get from observing a native speaker. So Miss Olgan is asking the difference between avô and avó. So I have to teach one class only about this, guys. I have a lesson prepared for this. Maybe next time I teach a live class, I can talk about only about this topic, because I know this is very difficult for you guys. The difference between the open O and the closed O. But I'm gonna give you one tip. The open O, it is we call it open because you open more your lips. O. You see how important it is to pay attention to the position of the lips. So avó means grandmother. It has an open O. I like to compare it to English because we have these two sounds in English, okay? So avó, the open O with the acute accent, is pronounced similarly to the word orange. And also when you see a cute dog, what do? Aww. It's the same sound. Aww. Avó. Avó is the same sound, okay? And avô, O is more closed. Avô, which means grandfather, the pronunciation of the closed O is similar to the words like old, though. O is this sound, okay? I hope that helps, Miss Olsen. Okay, very good. So, okay, let's continue. I have one more thing that I would like to talk to you about nasal sounds, and then I'll read more of your comments, okay? If you have questions, let me know. I'll try to answer some of your questions. Unfortunately, I cannot read all your comments and answer all your questions, but I'll do my best. So let's continue. The last topic that I want to talk to you about is the nasal So the it is the only vowel that can be used by itself with the tilde on top. Okay, so we talked about diphthongs. There are a lot of diphthongs that are oins, but the letter A can be used by itself with the tilde on top, and it is just a nasal which is the most common nasal sound in Portuguese. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some examples, and I want you to repeat after me to practice. Manhã. I already spoke this word in the beginning of the class. Manhã means morning. You have two nasal sounds. Manhã, manhã. And then we have the nha sound with the NH. It sounds like gnocchi, right? So manhã, two nasal sounds. Manhã. The first A is nasalized because of the letter N that comes right after. And the last A is nasalized because of the tilde. Manhã. And how do you know that the stress is at the end? Because of the graphic accent, the tilde, okay? It indicates that the stress is at the end. Manhã, manhã. Then we have the word fã. Fã means a fan, like when you are a fan of some person, a fan of someone, a fã. Fã. Then we have the word hortelã. Hortelã means mint. Hortelã. Are you repeating after me? Repeat after me to practice. This is very, very important. You have to repeat out loud. If you want to improve your pronunciation, just listening and watching doesn't help. You have to open your mouth and speak and imitate, okay? Imitate the way I speak, imitate the sound, and try to imitate my lips, the way I move my lips, okay? Now, next word, avelã. Avelã means hazelnut. Avelã. Next word, maçã. Maçã means apple. Maçã. Vou comer uma maçã. Last word. L. L means wool. L. L. It's just the L, regular L sound, and a very clear nasal A. L. L. So these words are very good to practice how to do the sound, because you don't see any M or N, so you won't get confused with the M, N. Just think about the nasal Open your mouth, pronounce the A, but then try to make the air comes through your nose. Compared to English, this varies a lot depending on the accent, but to me, I can hear nasal vowels in English. But when I studied linguistics, they say that there is an N and for instance, the word under. To me, it sounds like a nasal under. But when English speakers write this word in phonetic alphabet, they write the under. They write as two different sounds, like the and the To me, it's the same thing. So under, maçã. To me, it's the same sound. So I don't know if that helps you, if you are an English speaker, if that helps the comparison with the word, the sound under is the same. To me, sounds exactly the same as the nasal A. And also the word, I saw someone gave me this example in the comments. I don't remember who was. The word yummy. Yummy. It's very nasal, right? So maybe some English linguistics would disagree with me and say that it's not nasal, but to me, as a Brazilian, as a Portuguese speaker, it sounds nasal to me. So that also might help you as a learner of Brazilian Portuguese, if you can make a similar sound as under, yummy. It's similar, okay? It's very similar. Maybe it's not the same, but it's very, very similar. Okay, especially the sound I hear a lot in English. Yummy, under, and other similar words. Okay? Okay, guys, questions? I still have a few minutes. I'd like to answer your questions. But before I have a challenge for you, I want to challenge you to say tongue twister, trava-língua. I have 2 tongue twisters for you. I'm going to read it, and I want you to try to repeat after me. It is fun, but it's not only for fun. Tongue twisters are excellent tools to improve your articulation and your pronunciation of any language, because you have to make this work. You have to say all these words. It is difficult, so it makes you work harder and practice all the muscles that you have to practice to speak and pronounce those phonemes. Because the tricky thing about pronouncing words in another language is that your mouth, your muscles are not used to those positions, right? You grew up speaking a language that have all these phonemes, and then now you have to add new phonemes, and to pronounce words, you need to move your tongue and your mouth in a different way. You have to learn, and you have to practice all these new movements and positions. So tongue twisters are excellent tools for that. So let's practice 2 tongue twisters. Vamos lá. The first one. This is tricky because it has the R and the NH sound. We don't have much time, so let's practice just the second one because it is more focused on the nasal sound. We have the and the oins. 2 diphthongs. 2 diphthongs and the same. So I'm gonna read it for you. Limão, 1000 limões, 1 milhão de limões. Limão, 1000 limões, 1 milhão de limões. Can you repeat that after me? I'm gonna say 2 more times, and I want you to try to repeat, to say it with me. Ok? Vamos lá. Let's go. Limão, 1000 limões, 1 milhão de limões. 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 Did you get it? Tell me the truth. Was it difficult? So I recommend you practice this tongue twister and also the other one. And if you want to record a video of yourself and post it on Instagram, I'll be happy to give you some feedback on your pronunciation. Okay, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at speaking Brazilian school. So at speaking.brazilian.school. Okay, muito bom. So now let me read some of the questions before we finish the class. Yeah, this one is much easier than the aranha. Can you please explain how to... So this is a good question. Can you please explain how to identify closed open vowels when there is no accent? For example, the first E in ele and ela, or are these just exceptions to the rule that must be memorized? This is a very tricky question because the rules are not simple. There is a tendency in Portuguese that the masculine words have the closed sound, like in ele, and the feminine words have the open sound, like in ela. So that happens in a lot of words, but this is not a rule. This is just a tendency, okay? Same thing happens with singular and plural words. Some singular words, they usually have a closed sound, and plural words have an open sound, like the word Porto, which means, how is the translation of Porto? So Porto and portos, like aeroporto, like airport, and aeroportos, the plural. So we have this difference. The singular is usually closed, and the open, the plural is usually open. So there is no easy way to learn all these details. So recommend that you don't stress too much about it, because if you make this mistake, most of the time people understand you just the same, unless there is exactly the same word with a different meaning, as in the word avô and avó. In this case, it is very important to make it right, because if you pronounce it avô as avó or vice versa, then people just won't understand what you're saying. But if you pronounce aeroportos with the closed O, there is no difference, because this is the only word that exists with this meaning. So it is not a big deal. It's not a big problem. Okay, so don't worry about that. You will learn with practice. If you see the accent, then you know for sure what is the pronunciation. If you don't see the accent, just don't stress about it. You'll learn with practice and listening. The more you listen to Portuguese, the easier it gets to pronounce and to know how to pronounce these words. And also, one more thing, Talitha, this varies a lot from a region to another. In the northeast of Brazil, people usually pronounce the O's and the S's more open. And in the south and southeast, we usually pronounce the O's and the S's more closed. So this varies a lot. Okay, so don't worry with that, because it's not worth it. You'll learn with practice. Muito bom. What else? Let me see if I have more questions. Reading your comments, guys. So don't forget to download this material, and I recommend that you read the material and read all the words out loud. I'm going to show you again where you can download the material from my website. So just go to school.speakingbrazilian.com. Here you see all the courses that I offer, and just click on free live class, and you find the class for download, the PDF, so you can download, and also find a replay of this class on this website. So you can, in this case, as it is pronunciation class, I recommend that you watch the replay while you study the material, so you can repeat after me and do all these exercises again. Okay, another thing that you can do is to record yourself and then compare, because we are very good critics of ourselves, right? You can help yourself. You can listen to your pronunciation and see exactly what you should work on and improve. Okay, I'm looking to see if I have questions for you guys. So, okay, so another thing that I really recommend that you do to improve your pronunciation are imitation exercises. So I like to do that. There are many ways that you can do that. You can do that with podcasts if you are already intermediate level students. If you are a beginner, I recommend that you do You can just go on YouTube and then play one phrase, one sentence, and then stop and then repeat. You can do that with my YouTube channel because I speak at a slower pace. So I recommend you choose a slower pace podcast or video to do this imitation exercise. And if you are already more intermediate or advanced, you can use podcasts and listen and repeat to everything you say. This in the beginning, even if you pronounce it not well in the beginning, the more you practice, the more you say, you speak out loud, the easier it will get, because it is a muscle, guys. Really, there are muscles involved. So when you go to the gym, is it easy to do the exercises the first time? No. How long does it take to get easy? It takes a long time. So it's the same thing with the muscles of our mouth and muscles involved, and all the vocal cords and everything involved in speaking. Okay, you need a lot of practice. So in the beginning, it is going to be hard, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. Okay, so you need to repeat the words out loud. The more you do that, the easier it will get, and your pronunciation will get better with practice. Okay, so imitation exercises take like 10 to 15 minutes per day to do this exercise, and I promise you that your pronunciation will get better. Okay, so let me just remind you guys that this week, from yesterday till the end of the week until Friday, my courses are open for enrollment. If you want to have classes with me and my team, don't miss this opportunity. I only open enrollment a few times a year because I work with a very small team, so I cannot offer classes all the time. It would be impossible for me. So I open classes for a week, and then I close, and then I pay attention. I take care of this group of students that are with me for 3 months, and then I open again another class, and then I have another group of students. So that's how it works, how my school works. I cannot have classes all the time. So if you want to join one of the classes to start studying Portuguese now, this is the best time to start. So go to my website, school.speakingbrazilian.com, and take a look at the options. If you are a beginner, or if you have studied Portuguese for 3 months or less, I already recommend the essential course for beginners. This course is amazing. It's very complete. I received only good feedback from my students in this course. You can read some of the feedback on the website, and also on Google and Facebook. You see the reviews my students have written about the course. So the beginner's course is a very complete course. It lasts 3 months, 12 weeks. The students have live classes every week via Zoom with a teacher and the other students. Group classes are small, 8 to 12 students per class, so all students have the opportunity to practice and receive feedback. And you also have access to a lot of material to study by yourself. So it is a mix of material, pre-recorded material, so you can study by yourself, and live classes with a teacher. Okay, and I also offer the pre-intermediate workshop for those who have already studied a little bit, the basics, already study all the basics, but you're still not comfortable, you still need to review. So the pre-intermediate workshop is an excellent brush up of the basic content. Okay, but classes in the workshop are more advanced than in the beginner's course. If you are a beginner, I recommend you join the beginner's course, not the pre-intermediate course. Okay, if you're not sure what is the best course for you, you can take a placement test on my website. Go to speakingbrazilian.com, and then you find this placement test. Click on courses, placement test, and you can take this placement test. It's very simple. It takes 2 to 3 minutes to take, and I recommend a course for you based on your answers. Okay, and the other course that I offer is the Speaking Brazilian Academy. The Academy is not a regular course with beginning, middle, and end. It is a membership course recommended for intermediate and advanced students. It is a place to practice. Classes are super fun, are 100% in Portuguese. You'll learn new vocabulary, grammar, advanced grammar, and practice conversation once a week with a teacher. all classes in my school are via Zoom. All live classes are via Zoom with a teacher and a small group of students. So you all have the opportunity to practice a lot of Portuguese in class with your teacher. And also, in addition to that, I offer a review class once a month and a Q&A session once a month to all the students. So all of you are going to have classes with me, even if your regular teacher is someone else, okay? So I'll be my students and have direct contact to me at least once a month. I also offer an online community where you can have contact with your teacher and the other students every day, 7 days a week, and support. Every time you have a question, you just go online, ask a question. I'll be there answering your questions. The teachers will be there and the other students too. So this is an amazing place I don't have it here to show you now, but the next class that I teach live, I'm going to show you the community. Is super fun, and it is the perfect place to be in contact with the community of other Portuguese learners. Okay, I think I talked about all the most important topics related to these courses. If you have questions, let me know. I'm going to read some of your comments now. And if you want to learn more about my courses, just go to the website, click on the course, and then you see a lot of information. I offer payment plans also for the beginner's course and the pre-intermediate course. I offer option to buy also private classes if you think you need more support. You can also have that. So let me come back to the main page. Hi, so I can see you now. I'm looking for your comments to see if I have questions that I have not answered. So yeah. Okay, I think I'm looking for questions, but I can see questions. I see a lot of amazing comments. Thank you so much for all your comments. I'm very happy that you guys could join me today. So, artists, have a question. Você oferece aulas particulares? Sim, yes. My team is available for private sessions, so you can find information about private classes on my website, speakingbrazilian.com. And when you sign up for my courses, I also give an option so you can add more, you can add private lessons. But if you don't want to take any specific course, you can sign up only for private lessons too, okay? If you don't find it on my website, just email me. I'm available to answer your questions, guys. My email is virginia@speakingbrazilian.com. Okay, feel free to email me if you have questions about the course or any other questions. I'm glad to know that, Malcolm, I'm very happy this class was useful for you. I know that pronunciation is difficult. So Peter, what is the best way to build vocabulary? Well, I use Anki. Anki is a free app available online, anki.web. I like this app because I like to add the vocabulary that I want to learn. I don't like learning random vocabulary that I'm not sure I'm gonna use it. So I only use Anki because I like to choose what I want to learn. So Anki, you download it and then you can add your own cards. I recommend you add sentences and only add cards that you really want to learn. You think, okay, this I'm going to use. Don't waste your time learning, trying to memorize a lot of things that you're not sure you're gonna use it. Okay, so I recommend Anki.web. There is a lesson about that I explain and I show you how to use Anki. I taught this lesson 3 months ago in the Brazilian Portuguese Week. You find it on my YouTube channel. It is called Study Tips. Look for a lesson called Study Tips, and I explain in this lesson how to use Anki. Okay, just checking if there are more questions here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm very happy. Anki, A-N. I'm gonna show you just 1 second. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna show you where to download Anki. Hold on with me, don't go away. Anki.web. So this is the website, Anki.web. Ankiweb.net. Ankiweb. This I'm already logged in. Now you can go here and you can go log in. and it is super easy to use. Okay, so I don't have time to explain all this right now. It would take a long time. So I recommend that you check. If you go to this page, you find they have a lot of articles explaining how to use. The online version is free, which is amazing. There is also a version for the phones, like mobile version. The mobile version is paid. But you don't have, if you don't want to spend any money, you don't have to use it. You can just use the free app. I use both. I use the one on my phone because I use my phone a lot, and I also use the free version available online. Okay, you find a lot of articles on how to use this. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Let me move on to okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was super fun. I hope this class was useful. And if you have any questions for me, email me at virginia@speakingbrazilian.com. I'll be happy to help you. Um beijo grande e até a próxima. Tchau, tchau!